We are live.
Hey Ethan,
Hello, how are you?
I am good. How are you on this beautiful spring day?
You know what? I'm doing rather well, considering.
Yes, well, thank you so much for joining us to chat Broadway and raise some money for the Actors Fund.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this. I think, as you were saying at the beginning of the video, it's quite a wild time to be part of the theater community and to be part of the Broadway community, and so what the Actors Fund is doing is incredibly important.
It is absolutely important. I saw that you posted something about the Actors Fund, a virtual rehearsal for
Yeah.
Assassins. So are you guys linking up with the Actors Fund for that?
I actually just some people at Today Tix reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we're trying to facilitate some content as a way to bring people's attention to the Actors Fund." So it was this sort
Oh,
of
cool.
three-way counterpart, team up, and they said, we would love for you to do a video and do a video from home. And I had just been in rehearsal with this amazing company of assassins,
So
and
amazing. That cast
I
is
thought, it would
fire.
be great. It's outrageous, just top to bottom outrageous.
Yeah.
Um, and so I thought, wouldn't it be fun to get people together and make this video all together and do a song that we'd been working on really hard. And so it was a good opportunity to sort of keep rehearsing and keep in touch and also team up with the Actors Fund. And I was very happy to be able to do that.
Oh, amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, I know it's a kind of a crazy time. There were all these shows that were like mid-rehearsal that had to stop. Did you guys have in-person rehearsals for Assassins before this happened?
We did. We'd had about 2 weeks of rehearsal.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and in this way that was both heart crushing and really life affirming. The
Yeah.
rehearsal room is incredible. Like it's going to be an unbelievable show. So it's really heartbreaking to not be able to go back to rehearsal for that third week. Of course, it's the right thing, but hopefully the
Yeah,
show will
definitely.
have a future. And I think we're optimistic. There will be some version of Assassins hopefully soon.
Yeah, we our high school students, our A class did Assassins a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I think they're actually doing a screening of it tonight of the production. So
Oh,
full
cool.
circle.
Yeah,
Hello.
that's great.
Well, we have a lot of questions that people sent in, but before we dive in, I do want to ask you, how is your quarantine? Where are you? Who are you with? How's
Yeah,
that going?
the quarantine is very weird and okay. I am at my apartment in Brooklyn with
Oh,
my
yes, me
wife.
too. Peace.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, what's up?
Brooklyn.
All right. Uh,
Hey.
it's a weird thing. I was saying like the New York City doesn't feel much bigger than our apartment at the moment, and that's really
No.
hard. But at the same time, I still feel connected to the city through all of these weird internet things. So,
Yeah,
but
no, absolutely. And just being in the city, it's not too different. It's just a little quieter, I think.
totally. I will say, so I did spend just over a week a little bit sick, and I haven't made a big deal about
Oh,
it, but I did get sick, and I'm very fortunate to have not gotten too sick. But it was a bit of a stressful, week and a half,
yeah,
and I'm on the other
absolutely.
side of it, which is really wonderful. But that's it's something that I feel like has been hard for me to forget that some people are having a much more difficult time with quarantine for any slew of reasons, health related or otherwise. So again, a plug for the Actors Fund, who can help get resources
Yes.
to out of work people who are really affected by this in a bad way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actorsfund.org/donate, folks. I pinned the comment. So jump on it if you're willing. And if not, just share it, please. And thank you. All right. So let's jump into some questions. We've had a lot of questions,
Oh,
a lot
good.
about SpongeBob and a couple other ones filtered in. So I'm excited for some of these. So
Great.
I want to start off with a question that every one of our guests gets asked, which is that everyone wants to know what the audition process was like. And everyone's process was different. So we'd love to know what your audition for SpongeBob was like.
I am sure that my audition for SpongeBob was relatively unique. It started because I was in college. I was a sophomore in college, and I was basically applying to apprenticeship programs because I wanted to
Oh,
work in theater. So I applied to work with the composer Stu um, at Shakespeare on the Sound, and they made me audition for apprenticeship, they enjoyed my audition, asked me to come in for their main stage show, which was Shakespeare. And then after that audition, the casting director said, "Hey, we're working on this other thing. It's a 2 week long workshop directed by Tina Landau. I can't tell you exactly what it is because it's top secret, but we think you might be the right shape for it." And so at 19 years old, I took a train in from Poughkeepsie, New York to New York City to audition for my second ever professional audition. Um, and what was really awesome about it is that it was not yet a musical, so it was just a movement workshop. And
Oh.
I came in and I had prepared a scene. I didn't really try the voice, but I did a little bit of the voice, and I did a physical comedy routine. So I did. I think for the first audition, I did trying to put on a sweater, but it was rebelling against me. Sort of a classic
Ooh.
slapsticky kind of thing.
Yes. Love
And
that.
I was like, I was fighting it, and then I ended by throwing it in the air and diving into the neck hole, which was supposed to look
Yes.
like I like got into it, but really what happened is I just got really caught up, and I ended up with my leg and my head in the sweater. It was pretty fun. And then
Amazing.
I had a call back like 2 days later, and the callback Tina goes, "That was great, but try the voice and try the laugh. It's sort of important." So I like work on it, and I put together another physical comedy routine, which was a dance to the entirety of Billie Jean, except that
Yes.
there was a bee in the room, and so I kept on getting stung by a bee.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Just the dumbest Broadway audition story I think ever.
And then you just stayed with it through everything.
Yeah, they were really, really good to me in that way. It was 5 years of development before we did it out of town and then Broadway.
Holy
So
cow, 5 years.
I think the fifth year we were in Chicago, so it would have been 4 years of development leading up to it. Yeah.
That is amazing. I mean, to spend 5 years with the character is kind of incredible.
I mean, it's sort of the best possible scenario for me because I loved what I was doing at the beginning of it, but there's something about working for something really hard on something really hard for a month, and then you go away for 3 months and you come back and you realize like, oh, I actually know this already. I don't have to work so hard to get back to it, but you just get better each time and it becomes more a part of you. So by the time we got to Broadway, I didn't have to think so much about it. It was just what I wanted to do, you know?
Amazing.
It
I
was
mean,
nice.
yeah, if someone asked, oh, yeah, so, great question from Marin. Hardest choreography to learn. So the show was really physical. So how was that different in learning the choreography?
Oh gosh. I'm a very nervous dancer. I'm a strong mover is what I
Yeah,
would
I
put on my
refer to myself
resume.
as a passionate mover, is what my
Oh, that
resume
is so
says.
good. Passionate, love trying
Singer,
things.
dancer, passionate mover will always try.
I adore that. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And so I was terrified, and I have to tell you, I spent a year going to dance classes 3 or 4 times a week. Um,
Yes.
and I get to rehearsal the
Commitment.
first day. I was like, I've got to be okay. Like, I can't be slowing everyone down. Like, I know this room is going to be filled with amazing dancers. So, like, I at least can't be so far behind everyone. I show up to the
Right.
first day, and Chris Catelli, bless him, goes,
Oh,
uh, yeah,
amazing.
you actually don't dance that much in this show.
Oh, great.
Nonetheless, it felt like I danced a lot in the show. And the choreography that was really hard for me was the dance break in the opening number. I like whenever I was on a break, I would just stand in the mirror and practice it.
Yes, that's great. All right, next question. Oh, yeah, this is a great one. I don't know who sent this one in because they didn't have a name on their account, but one cool thing about SpongeBob is that each song was written by a different artist. So,
Yeah,
two questions. Did you get to work with all of the artists, and how did that process affect the rehearsal room, having all of these composers?
yeah. I got the chance to work with a couple of the composers. Tom Higginson from the Plain White T's was really awesome, and there early in the process. I think was the first song to come in. Got to work with
Oh, cool.
Jonathan Colton, who is like amazing and came in and like wrote the opening number and all the reprises, but he was keeping up with all of these unbelievable changes in this really cool way, and just like crafting it. But I will say it was all really funneled through Tina and her collaboration with Kyle and with us, which meant that it didn't feel scattered. It didn't feel too weird that there were all these different composers. If we had a question about it, we went to Tina, and Tina had the answer. And so
Oh,
that was sort of the way that it worked, and it was really cohesive in that way. And I think they were really collaborative. They were really great.
Did you get to record in the studio with any of the composers?
No, I wish. I mean, Tom Kitt,
Oh,
like
right.
that
Did
was
he
pretty
did he
great.
arrange who arranged the show?
He did the arrangements and
He
the
did the
orchestration.
arrangements.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. So he was kind of involved in like the whole process of like all the music.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was very.
Oh,
Oh, I guess
cool.
that's the other answer that I was sort of leaving out. Is like, of course, we were going to Tina for like sort of the thematic questions and the lyric questions.
Right.
But in terms of shaping the songs and making them weave in and out in the way that a Broadway score needs to, and the way that a composer often does in the room, that was Tom's job, and he is so incredible. I mean, I remember like first week of rehearsal for Broadway, I was like, I'm so in love with the way that he orchestrated the show and arranged the show. So I was like, I'm gonna go back and like revisit some of the other albums that he wrote, that he
Yes.
arranged, that were like so influential to me. And I was listening to American Idiot, and I was like, oh my, like
Ugh.
I knew as a kid how good this was, but now that I've been like
Yeah.
sort of in this world, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like
Yeah.
this work anyway. So he's outrageous.
I mean, it's crazy how like an arrangement can like truly change a song. Like take the
Yeah,
Jagged Little Pill album. Like those arrangements like are so different than the original album, but like they work so well in like a theatrical setting. It's kind of insane. Like that job is so underrated in a lot of people don't know about the arranger and like what they do to like help a show.
totally. I think like listening to something back to back, like one isn't necessarily better than the other, although you may have your opinion
Yeah.
on it, but you can see how it elevates it to the new form in this really amazing way.
Yeah, and it is crazy with the SpongeBob soundtrack having 20 different composers, how
Yeah.
they, at the end of the day, it all still sounds like one show, not 20 different albums at once.
Yeah, true. And he like wrote some amazing incidental music that wove in themes. And so we would have these different themes weaving in and out. So it feels like it was a single voice in this crazy way. And I think that's thanks to his genius.
Absolutely. All right, next question.
Yeah,
SpongeBob is one of the most famous cartoons of all time. So, what is
fact.
the rehearsal process like bringing a beloved character to life, and what is like the added pressure of that for an audience?
I mean, I think the added pressure from the get-go is like exactly what you'd think it would be. It's like you don't want to let yourself
Yeah.
down. You don't want to let the audience down. Um, but then you also don't want to let the creators down. And I would say at the beginning of the process, we were sort of blissfully free from Nickelodeon in this way. They would come in and
Oh,
see
cool.
what we'd done. We would do presentations for them, but we were working to make something great on our own, and then we would bring it to
Right.
them. Um, at some point in the development process, Steven Hillenberg came in, and he is this absolutely like unbelievably sweet guy. He was like just like so kind and warm and brought us into the family. But I didn't know that until we met him. So like leading up to meeting him, I was just so terrified that he was going to see it and be like, "Shut it down! This kid is terrible." Um,
Yeah.
but he was really really supportive, and he had a really high bar for what he thought that the show should be, and we made sure that we met that bar. And I think he was really I don't know, supportive is a weird word to use, but he was really supportive, and I feel really lucky to have gotten to know him a little bit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it is interesting. Like, not a lot of musicals come from like a major corporation, like something like Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
So it's like a different a set of standards, I guess, that like they expect than like a normal, just like regular Broadway show.
sure. Yeah, I mean, there's the whole world already built, and it's interesting because
Yeah,
it's not a straight adaptation, so it's not taking a story
right.
and sort of revamping it or changing the form of a story. It's taking a world and adding to the canon. So I like to think of it as like it's like a new Greek myth. You know, we have these
Yeah.
characters, these Greek gods, and we're creating it sort of a new story with them. And so the pressure there is really different and wasn't really on us. It was really more on Tina and Kyle. But
Right.
it's sort of a different kind of adaptation. It's not really an adaptation. It's using these characters to build a new world. So there's a pressure there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Another question. Someone wants to know about your vocal routine, your warm up, your cool down, having to sing 8 shows a week with an incredibly not so simple vocal line that SpongeBob has to sing.
Oh yeah. I just did like a pretty thorough vocal warm up during the run of the show. I was really lucky to be working with an amazing voice teacher, Liz Kaplan, who would I would
Oh,
meet with her once a week.
yeah.
She would we would see where I was, warm up, cool down. But I have to say it was all about being really slow and steady and not overdoing it, but not pushing myself too early. I remember like showing up at the theater at 11 a.m. on a Sunday, for our seventh and eighth
God.
shows of the week. We
Yeah.
had 1 p.m. matinees, and I would show up and I would just be like, "All right, there's nothing today. Like, there's just no chance." And then I like do a little lip trills and do just little things, and it would come back. But I guess the only thing to say is it's slow and steady.
Before SpongeBob, had you done like a lead role 8 shows a week before, or was that like your first experience doing that many shows back to back to back?
I had done 8 shows a week for 2 months at a time, tops.
Gotcha.
I'd never done a year-long run. I'd never done. I mean, I'm not sure I'll ever have a show that's quite as hard as SpongeBob again.
Right.
But I
Great,
certainly
good.
hadn't
Like,
had
get
one
it out of the
before.
way. Yeah.
I mean, it
That's,
was.
yeah, because
Sorry, were you saying something?
oh no, yeah, it was like a lot of our artists that have come on here that we've like asked that some of them that are brand new. They were like we like had never done 8 shows before. It's insane, especially those five
Yeah.
show weekends that you have to do before holidays.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
yeah, it's really wild. 5 show weekends are. I feel like they're the epitome of sort of general world stress, which is that
yeah.
going into a 5 show weekend, you're like, there's no way. There's just no way it's going to happen. And then you finish the first show and you're like, I've only done one show. And then you finish the second show and you're like, great, two more tomorrow. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
but like in the moment, you're like, how am I gonna do this?
yeah, it just feels absolutely insurmountable. But then it ends up being sort of fun. And you get to hang out with your cast in between shows. It's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, this one is from Phoenix. What is your favorite part about playing a character like SpongeBob? And then follow that up with, do you have a favorite memory from doing the show?
My favorite part of playing a character like SpongeBob is like it's so cheesy. I feel so cheesy when I say it, but it's just being a character who like loves his community means
Yeah.
that you really like you have no choice but to love your community. And although I was really lucky, though everyone in the Palace Theater was just like the absolute best. So I really genuinely loved everyone there, and I still do. So
It's a
I don't
huge
know whether that's the
cast, right?
character. Yeah, I think a pretty big cast.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how it stacks up to other cast sizes,
Right.
but pretty big. But like big cast crew, the backstage crew at the Palace Theater, just like unbelievable people. I see front of house crew from the Niederlander organization, just like at other shows. Whenever I go see a show,
Yeah.
and
Oh
it's
yeah.
like oh family. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's
that's
it's
so
a really
nice.
it's really cool. So that was probably my favorite part about doing the show. I guess that's not necessarily about playing a character like SpongeBob, but I think it's
Right.
hand in hand.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Were you able to like draw on like anything, any personal? Like, do you find yourself like SpongeBob in any way? Like
God,
as a human being?
it like it's so interesting. A lot. I think I am a little bit less sunny, like a little
Oh,
bit less
okay.
bright-eyed. But I don't know that everybody agrees with that. Some people would say that I am exactly like SpongeBob, and you know, I think both can be true. I think we all have a SpongeBob, we all have a Squidward, and we all have a Patrick, we
Mm.
all have a Sandy inside
Oh,
us. And most people also
absolutely.
have a Plankton.
Yeah. I think I have a Mrs. Puff at the moment. That's how I'm feeling in
So like,
quarantine.
so like really sort of sassy and over it.
Actually, I guess that's just always. Yeah.
Ugh.
Absolutely. But also with a little SpongeBob sparkle at the end of the day.
That's the thing. I think the important thing about feeling like SpongeBob is being able to tap into it in important moments. And I think I can
Yeah,
do that.
exactly. Oh yeah, definitely. We can always put the smile on, especially on days like this when it's like bright outside. When it's like this, I
It's
can always
nice.
be happy. It's so
I
nice.
mean,
It's so nice.
I haven't had a haircut in a while, so my hair is insane, and I
Oh,
don't have any hair. I don't have any. Your hair looks great under that bandana. I
oh,
love it.
thank you so much.
But I also don't have any hair
No.
product. I'm out.
Oh
So I
no.
was like, do I just wet it down, or do I wear this hat that's a little too small, but I really like?
I've stopped using product. I just put argan oil in it, and it really helps. You can get it on
Really
Amazon. It doesn't
interesting.
take as it takes a little bit of time to get here because of the priority prime shipping, but still, it's worth it if you want it.
Yeah. Okay.
All
I might
right,
get into that.
one you really should. It hydrates incredibly. All right, last SpongeBob question, and that is, um, oh, this is nice. What do you miss most about it? That's from Katie.
Okay. Obvious answer. I miss the people. I miss getting together. But I will give another answer because I sort of already said that one. And this is a moment that a specific memory kind of thing, but also something that I miss is there's just like a really specific feeling about the second act of SpongeBob climbing the mountain, climbing the ladder
Oh,
wall. And once you get to the top of the ladder wall, and I'm just like up there and I take a deep breath and I can see the entire theater. And when I throw the eruptor interrupter, light shines over everyone in the audience. And it's this moment
oh,
that like they've been taking us in for the whole time, but I really get to take them in this really beautiful way, and I get to breathe a minute because I know that like the work is sort of done and all we have left is best day ever, which by the way is so exhausting, but is also so
oh, I
fun.
bet.
Um,
Oh,
it's so fun. So there's that moment of just like being up on the ladder wall, taking a breath and thinking like, all right, we did this and we did this together. Like all of us, all 1,700 of us in this room. Um,
that's so nice. I hope that's how we all feel at the end of this quarantine.
Me too. Me too. I have to say, SpongeBob is it's so weirdly relevant. It's like so
Absolutely.
heartbreaking. It's consistently always relevant. And if you get the chance to go back and watch it, it's on Amazon Prime. Um, you
Amazon
have to
Prime
pay to rent
Hooks.
it, yeah. But
Mm,
um,
it's worth it.
it's it's like this. It's actually like a story that's worth hearing right now. And I know I'm biased, but it's true. In the face of fear, we shouldn't be getting at each other's throats. We need to come together and you know make it the best day ever.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you. In the face of fear, folks, come together.
Yeah.
You heard it right here from Ethan Slater himself. All right. No more SpongeBob questions. We got a really great question, which is not sure who sent this one in because there is no name, but you got to guest star in Fosse Verdon with Michelle Williams and Sam Rockwell playing Joel Grey, Broadway legend. So, can you talk about that experience and like what it was like to work with those incredible people?
Oh man, the experience of working on Fosse Verdon was really incredible. I mean, you walk
What
into
a great
this.
show.
What a
I
great show,
mean,
beautiful, like what an
oh,
amazing homage to like the world that we love so much. Um,
yes.
and I got to like see Sam Rockwell and Michelle Williams work from up close, and that was like this masterclass moment. Um, it was like really really special. And then I think one of the things that I really took away from it was I got to sit in the trailer with the two of them and sort of witness their interactions with our amazing hair and makeup team, um, and just see like what menches they both are, how
Yeah.
incredibly like you hear these stories of sort of the A-list celebrities just being mean because they don't have to be nice, and that's
Yeah.
not the case here. This was very much like, oh, you know what, like I'm gonna bring you that. Like you were just talking about this thing. I have one of those at home. I'm gonna bring it. You know, it's just like it was community, and so I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like being nice to people isn't a weakness, and you can stay nice to people even as you become an Oscar winner. You know,
I thought it was really cool in all of Michelle Williams' like acceptance speeches for the show that all she could talk about was how amazing the on-set experience was like and how everyone was collaborative and generous and nobody was treated any different than anyone
hmm.
else.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that as a small part of it. I felt that, and it made a really big difference. It was like a really beautiful thing. It was such a fun, and also there's something unbelievable about like walking through a studio lot and just seeing scenes from your like most like the thing that you care the most about. Like the Kit Kat Club is there, and like these beautiful like yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
everything. It was so beautifully built and realized. So it was a cool experience.
You were there for the Chicago-based episodes,
Um,
correct?
I was there for Cabaret.
Oh, for Cabaret. That's what I meant.
Yeah, yeah.
Cabaret. So you got to like see all of the costumes and who was playing Liza? Was it Kelly Barrett played
Kelly Bear. Oh
Liza?
yeah. Oh, she's great. She's great.
What,
She's awesome.
what an incredible. And how long was that filming experience for you? A couple days?
Yeah, it was a 3 days, 3 or 4 days
Cool.
plus
That's
rehearsal.
amazing. That's
It was
amazing.
longer than you'd think, but also
Yeah, but
but
still,
also short.
incredible experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last question, and this is from Danielle. She wants to know, are you planning on releasing any more songs from your original musicals?
Interesting question.
Yes, a
He
writer.
yeah, so am I am planning on releasing new music in the next few weeks actually. Look out for an announcement about the specifics. But I have some music that we've recorded 3 more songs, and we're going to be releasing a little EP, along with
Cool.
hopefully a little bit of collaborative content that we are trying to do in this quarantine. Um,
Amazing. What kind of music are you, how do you write? Are you guitar, piano?
I play guitar mostly. I also play a little bit of piano. This is um, we recorded this in Soundcat Studios, which is a recording studio with
Oh,
Mike
cool.
Dobson. Mike Dobson, who is the Foley artist and drummer from SpongeBob, is one of my
Oh, cool.
is like a collaborator with me, and so we write a lot of music together, and we this is sort of a I would call it sort of like an indie rock kind of vibe, but rock doesn't seem
Nice.
quite like the right word to describe it.
Yeah.
But some of it is, I one of them is like very drawn from sort of like the Mountain Goats kind of
Right.
emotional teenage music that I was really invested in. But I'm really excited about this little EP, and so I keep your eyes out.
Where do you release that? Instagram or SoundCloud? How do you?
It'll be on Spotify or wherever you get music,
Oh,
and
cool.
I'll release some stuff on Instagram as well, and tweet out links. Follow me, I
Amazing.
suppose.
Yeah, I will definitely keep my eyes out for that. Exciting. Well, oh wow, it is already 4:30. Thank you so much for
Oh
talking
wow!
with us, Ethan. This has been so fun,
Oh my God! Thank you for
enlightening.
having me. I
Of
know
course.
I can sort of drone on, so I appreciate you
Oh,
bearing with me.
I can talk for hours. I understand. Yeah, just a reminder to everyone in the audience that I did pin the comment with the link to the Actors Fund donation.